I go by the name of Sack. I acquired that nickname in junior high school, I think, because gym coach, who normally they are not linguistic giants, they tried to pronounce my last name and they said Fred Sack, and then so I got the nickname Sack. And my older brother went by the name of Sack also, and he spelled his S-A-K. And since he had the first option, I acquired a nickname of Sack, and I spelled it S-A-K-E. That inspired a lot of mispronunciations from everything from Saki to Sake to whatever. But I go by the nickname of Sack. So after my short little talk, I'll ask for some questions. So if you will just address me as Sack. First of all, I've lost about 98% of my vision, so I'm basically blind. As for the internment camp in Poston, Arizona, like Bill said, I was only 6 years old when we were bused from Watsonville, just below San Francisco, down to Santa Anita on military buses. The buses, the windows were all blacked out. I remember that part because I had a rice sack that was filled with my precious belongings, clothing mainly, and an extra pair of shoes. And that's my only thing I took to camp. We were not able to pack up a car and drive down or anything like that. We just packed up everything we could in whatever we could carry. We were taken on to the buses with the blacked out windows and driven down to Santa Anita. And there we registered, or they registered us, and then we were assigned to camps. I don't know how they went about it, but we were then herded onto the various trains to various camps in the western U.S. As Bill was saying, he didn't know how we acquired this scrapbook. But the one possibility is that when various people were herded onto the trains and we were headed for the hastily constructed camp in Poston, Arizona, the railroad track went right through Banning on the way to Poston, or Parker actually, on the way to Parker, and it may have been that the train stopped here in Banning for a rest stop for water, bathroom, or what have you. And the people here in Banning, whoever were living here at the time in 1942, were so kind that the people, whoever made up the scrapbook, came back to Banning and left that here for someone as a thank you gift for the people of Banning. This is strictly conjecture on my part. And as it was, I recall it was in about August or September, and we arrived in Poston, Arizona, which was the best time of the season, I guess, if you didn't particularly like good weather, because it was hot, I recall. And we got off, and I said, gee, what are we here? And at the time when I was first taken onto the bus, I was in a farming community, and I was myself and my younger sister and my parents were the only one working on this farm. And my older brothers and sisters would get on school buses and go to school with all sorts of children their own age, and they would laugh and talk to each other, make all sorts of things on the noise on the bus. And I was sitting there on the side of the road watching them go, and going back to a lonely existence on the farm. And I thought, wow, they sure are lucky. They get to go to school and have kids all their own ages and all that. Then when we went to camp here in Arizona, wow, there are barracks right next to each other. There are friends my own age right next to each other. I didn't have to go, just take a nap between the rows of strawberry plants or anything. I could run around with kids my own age. This is great. And this is how myself, anyway, at that age of 6 years old, envisioned camp. I did not think of it as an internment camp or a concentration camp. On vegetables, we found that we could herd there were wild chickens in the bushes, and the men folk would make up fencing in such a way that the chickens would come into this labyrinth of chicken fencing, and then they couldn't get out. So all of a sudden we had a fairly steady supply of eggs, and we didn't have to depend on powdered eggs. And we had chicken we could supplement into our diet instead of having ground beef all the time or powdered eggs. So it's kind of, but the main thing is, if it was not for that being interred, I don't think I would have ever had the chance to go to UCLA and get an engineering degree, and eventually meeting my super tolerant wife, Charlene, and making a happy, super life.